You are listening to the IT Path Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Morrison. Let's go and help you claim your journey into IT.
Welcome to another episode of the IT Path Podcast. I am your host, Dana Morrison, and today we are going to be unstoppable on your IT journey. I am coming to the plate for you with over 25 years experience in tech to give you some of the best tips and tricks that will help you move forward. These are not conventional tips and tricks. These aren't like how do you reset your router or how do you fix a screen on your broken laptop. It's not kind of that kind of tips and tricks. These are infrastructure tips and tricks, the way you think, the way you operate, the way that you can get yourself unlocked, get moving, stay moving on your IT path, claim your journey, and keep moving on it. So we're going to be unstoppable today in your IT journey. I'm still traveling. I'm recording this actually from my car with my laptop, and I'll have to edit it later. And just kind of like we're kind of rolling with the punches here. If you've been following the podcast, I've been in Maine, helping a friend who has been pretty sick, and he passed on Saturday morning, which was actually a tremendous blessing, but he went with peace. So I'm feeling like some of my time is freed up a little bit more, but we're focused on right now on how do we get you unstoppable on your IT journey. And I'm going to give you 5 tips today, 5 things that will help you get moving. Now, these are not lighthearted things. It's not like you're just going to all of a sudden snap your fingers and do these 5 things. This is going to take time. Getting you going and moving on your IT journey takes time. However, there are some very simple things here that you will be able to do even right now that can help you get started even today. So let's dive into this. So if you've listened to the earlier podcast, you know that I did not take computer science in university. In fact, I got a D in my pre-calc class. I got a D in my Pascal programming class. I actually had to drop comp sci as my minor. And I just picked it up on my own. I started to learn. I had some kids from a youth group help me put together my first computer. And that was where the fire really got lit. I was interested in tech all my life as a kid. I had a Commodore 64. Love to do stories about that on the podcast too. Love to mess around with a Commodore 64 and just love technology. Love taking things apart. Love taking the back off of a radio and looking at all the little connections and everything in there, and building little antennas in my room. And I had these little wires all through my ceiling where and hooked to my radio, and I could pick up things from like all over the globe on this little radio because I just made this little antenna, basically all these wires in my bedroom. So you probably heard about me building my first computer, hooking it up, and poof, the power supply. I had it hooked up incorrectly on my first computer, and I thought I'd broken it. And some kids from the youth group helped me kind of get everything working correctly on that computer. So this is where it's like this curiosity approach, right? You've got something that you're interested in. You've got this like little morsel of something, this little it's like if you're starting a fire and you've got, let's say you're starting it without matches, and you've got some dry tinder there that's required. And I don't know if you've ever watched any of these survival programs. I've actually been on trips with a wilderness program where they lit fires without matches, and they did the bow and string approach, and they're feverishly rolling that and sometimes doing it even with their hands with a little spindle. Like I don't know all the correct terminology here, but they're notching out a piece of wood, and they're using their hands with a spindle, and they're working their way down this spindle as they're rolling their hands together, and they're making friction, and finally you get this little coal. And this little coal, you have to put your hands around it. You have to make sure that you protect it. You're dropping that into some dry tinder, and then you're blowing on that dry tinder. And as you blow on that dry tinder, then the fire starts. and then you're putting that dry tinder that you just lit underneath something that's just a little bit larger, and then something a little bit larger. And finally, you've got these sticks of wood that are burning from what you started with friction. Well, it's the same thing with you, with your desires, with what you want to pursue in life. It's exactly the same thing. You've got this coal, this ember in you that's burning, and you're like, oh, I wish that I could get into IT. I wish that I could learn more about technology field. And this is how it works. So the 5 things that I have here are really going to help with taking that step and moving forward. Let's dive into this. You've heard that I got my first contract in IT with 0 experience. You probably heard that my degree was in religion. Don't let any of that sway you. You can get a career in IT like I did, with minimal education and just a desire to move forward. So here is my 2023 guide to breaking into IT and becoming unstoppable on your IT journey. So you need to, there's some things that you need right now. If you're going to listen to this podcast and you're here, you probably already have these things, but there are a couple things that you need in order to even just proceed here. So let's dive into that. You need a willingness to learn. Without a willingness to learn, then you're just basically listening to a podcast. Number 2, willingness to learn and a little ambition. And that's it. That's all that you really need to have to get started. That's the little coal. That's the little ember. A little ambition, a little willingness to learn. And let's dive into the 2023 guide to help you jumpstart your IT career and become unstoppable. That's the key word here, right? How do you become unstoppable? Because as soon as you get on your journey, you're going to have resistance. And that resistance can cause you to bail out. It can cause you to press the abort button, to pull the release hatch and eject, right? And then you've gone nowhere. So the first thing is this. Number one to becoming unstoppable on this IT journey is you have to be curious. Do you remember Curious George? Do you remember I remember it as a kid, the book Curious George. It's funny how some childhood books can contain such great advice, such great wisdom. George was curious about everything, got himself into trouble. He broke things, he messed things up, he spilled stuff. And it didn't matter to George. He was learning. He's the little monkey, right? He's trying to learn all of this stuff. You need to be curious in the same way. So I'm going to give you some tips to being curious. You've got a broken phone. Have you ever dropped your phone and cracked your screen? Like, oh, that's it. Toss it in the trash. Well, try to replace, if you're into like hardware kinds of stuff, try to replace the screen yourself. Screens are super cheap. Like you can pick up phone screens for like 15 to 25 bucks. You can go on eBay, you can go on Amazon. A lot of times they'll even come with a guide, and some of them even come with some of the tools that it takes to replace the screen. So the screens are cheap, and who cares if you fail? The phone's already broken, right? So anything broken, just anything broken, a laptop, just try to get it working again. A desktop computer, a router at your house where your internet comes from, all of these things, whatever it is, if it's broken, see if you can fix it. So why is this important? Now, it doesn't have to be hardware. It doesn't, maybe you're like, I don't really care about taking things apart, whatever. It doesn't have to be hardware. Just thinking about like programming. You want to program and you want to you want to figure out how to do something. Just try it. There's no resistance to just being able to try it. And if you fail, who cares? Especially if think about that. It's like if you want to write a program and you don't have anything, and you at least get something, even though it doesn't work how you want it to work. Maybe you want to try and program a little simple calculator program. ChatGPT can even get you started. It will even help you build a framework so that you can start to code some of your own commands in there, so that you don't even have to start from scratch. I mean, it's the bar is so low. If you haven't gotten started on your IT journey, I keep asking this question, what are you waiting for? It's like the bar's laying on the ground. As all you have to do is walk across it. That's like the start line. Just walk across it. It's not like this big high jump bar where you got to know how to hold the pole and you got to run a certain way at a certain angle and put that into the ground and get flipped up over this unreasonable bar. It's basically just to get started. So if you start to so I was saying, why is this important? This idea of curiosity, like broken phone and things like that. You will start building good troubleshooting skills. A foundation to the world of all things tech is troubleshooting. It doesn't matter which field you go. If you're in security, you still have to know troubleshooting skills. There's no magic formula for security that says, oh, if you want to be a security expert, A, B, C, D, you're all set. Oh, and if anything breaks, just repeat the process. There's nothing like that in IT. It's like sometimes I even will hear about a problem, and in my mind, I'm already like troubleshooting it. And there's many times in my mind, I'm wrong. I get into the situation, I'm like, oh, I was totally off base. I was thinking it was this, but it was something totally different. So that you have to have that curiosity, you have to have that troubleshooting skills, and that comes over time. It just does not come magically at the drop of a hat. So that's important. So if you're into this, then you can listen to episode 1 and 2 of the podcast. If you want to learn a little bit about the curiosity I built early on, episodes 1 and 2 of the podcast. I'm going to give you some things as we go along here. All of these things are attainable. It's just a matter of how much you want it. So 1 and 2 of the podcast, if you're want to learn a little bit more about like troubleshooting, that sort of thing, or just being curious in that way. I got a couple more here. So yeah, internet issues. If it's broken, try and fix it yourself. Don't just immediately call the ISP. See if you can figure it out. Now, don't get in there and just jack a bunch of settings up and put yourself in a worse situation. But the basics, you can do the basics, and that will help you troubleshoot. You've got to be curious about yourself. How do you be curious about yourself? What's one easy low-level way or low bar way that you can get started on that? We said the bar is like it's laying on the ground. There's so many free tools out there that you can just basically step over the bar and get started. Well, I will tell you about one that we've built right here at ITPath. If you go to itpath.net, there is a free assessment tool on the website. Right on the homepage, you click it, you put in your email address, you get a link, and I know you might be thinking, oh, I don't want to get on some email list. No, listen, you're taking the time to listen to a podcast about this, and you can always get off the email list. So who cares? You get on an email list. I send you a link. I start sending you some tips, and you're like, no, thank you. You click your way out. You hit the abort button. You've got the keys in your hand, but at least it gives you a way to get curious about yourself, about your own skills, assess yourself, and figure out where your skills and abilities might lie. And you can do that free of charge. So I would encourage you, do that, itpath.net, and take that free assessment. That is one easy, just easy bar to cross to get started with being curious. All right, number 2. So be curious is number 1. Number 2, you have to change the way you think. IT is not this this magic button that you can press. If you're not willing to put in some effort and be able to, let's say, do a course correction in your own way of thinking, then you could very easily start to get into IT, but then be very discouraged. And that discouragement can come from all sorts of sources, but one of those sources of discouragement can come right from within yourself. You might start thinking, I can't do this. I don't have the ability to move forward with this. You might think, I'm too stupid. I'm too old. I can't learn enough. That is a wrong way of thinking. And if you've listened to some of the other episodes, I talk in those episodes about how your skills and abilities can translate directly. It doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. If you have some experience in life, those skills and abilities can transfer into tech. Maybe you've been a manager at a pipe fitting plant, but you're interested in technology. Well, you've got management skills. Those are incredibly valuable in the field of tech. And with all of these young guys coming out of college and going into tech who don't have any life experience and don't have any managerial experience, and their communication experience is, needs to be improved. Their skills need to be improved in order to really put them in a place where they're going to be extremely valuable in the field. You have a wealth of knowledge. You can come into that kind of setting and be able to help encourage other people. It's just a matter of being willing to do it. But you have to change the way you think. You can't be thinking that you're not good enough, that your skills aren't good enough, that they're not valuable enough. So this is one of the tips here in changing the way you think is go listen to episode 6. I talk about in episode 6 the lies that break you down, and we actually have a little mini course that helps you break down the lies in your life, where they're coming from, helps you identify the people in your life that are speaking lies into you. So that's another thing. You've got negative people in your life, and sometimes those negative people are just going to drag you down. Sometimes they're friends that you've had for years that fear that you're going to do some step of success that might isolate them from you. And that's not on you, that's on them. And if you're around people that do not want to move forward in their career, then you're going to be like that. You're going to become like the top 5 people that you hang out with. So that's a problem. And you've got to be able to identify negative people in your life so that when you're around the top 5 people in your life, think about the top 5 people in your life. Do you want to be that average of them? And if you do, great. But if the average of that is like, nah, that's not really that, then you got to start thinking about, you have to change the way you think about your relationships with people. Another thing here is that you need to identify lies from the mass media and change the way you change what you listen to. And this can be hard too, because we get in ourselves in these grooves. We're listening to certain people, certain channels. I'm telling you, if you're out there just listening to all of these podcasts about all of the different IT certifications, man, you got to stop. There is so much garbage on YouTube. There's so much garbage on the internet, and almost all of it is promoting the certification program because people think, well, if I can get the certification, then I can get the job. A lot of employers are not looking for just the cert. They're looking for the experience that backs it up. And in fact, I've talked to many employers that say, I don't even care about the certification. They put it down on the job description, on the post on Indeed or wherever the post is. They put those things on those posts to help get the chaff out. All of the people that are just don't have any experience and don't have any certifications, and they're trying to weed them out so that they can focus on people that really want the job and are really going to work hard and get the job done. But that certification piece, for many of them, that's anybody can go get a certification. So if you come in and you're what that company is looking for, then you will be able to have a huge impact, maybe, in that company. And if that's the case, that hiring manager, that person, that director, whoever it is that you're talking to, there's a good chance they're going to want to hire you. So episode 6, change the way you think and clean up the lies in your brain that are poisoning the way you think. You've got to do that. All right, let's take a break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about controlling time. We're going to talk about community. We're going to talk about coaching, all sorts of things. So when we come back, we will give you 3 more. Now, the combination of one of these on its own is going to be great. But let me tell you, the combination of all 5 of these things, you're going to knock it out of the park. You will become unstoppable because this is the infrastructure. This is the infrastructure I've identified in my own life that has driven me for 25 years. And I'm very confident this is exactly the same infrastructure that you need in your life in order to carry you into the next level and to keep you going on your path. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Dana Morrison, host of the IT Path podcast, and I hope you are enjoying this week's episode. Are you interested in getting into IT? Let me ask you one simple question. What is holding you back? IT Path is dedicated to developing a community, content, and courses that will help you get unlocked and stay unlocked on your IT journey. I have more than 25 years experience in IT, and I want to share with you what I've learned and give you the tools to succeed on your very own IT path. Even if you are just starting out on your IT journey, we're here for you. To find out more, simply go to itpath.net and sign up for the mailing list, and we will start by sharing some tips, tricks, and tools to help you get going and keep you going. Go to itpath.net and claim your journey. Start your IT path today. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the episode.
Okay, number 3, control your time. Time is a limited resource, and if you're not controlling your time, then you will not be making time to get into tech. So if you're not making time to get into tech, guess what? You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to move. You're not going to go forward. And you're going to be in the same place. And then you're going to find yourself in the same place again and again and again and again. And you're going to find yourself watching those stupid videos again and again and again about the certifications and which one should I take? Well, there's every certification under the sun. And now you've wasted time with stupid videos and stupid things that are just eating up your time. And now you find yourself with no time. And if you do not have margins in your life, you're not going to have time, first of all. So, and some of that margin could be eaten up by frivolous activity that you can manage, and now you can regain some time back on your calendar. And when you do that and you start to direct that time to more profitable activities, then you're going to be able to see an opportunity for improvement, move ahead, and keep going on this path. But if you do not have margins, no margins equals no time. No time equals no improvement. No improvement equals no change. The formula doesn't magically change because you have this desire. The desire in itself, the curiosity in itself is nothing if you don't have the time to screw around with a broken phone to see if you can fix it. So you have to control your time. You have to make room to train, to improve. 1 + 1 always equals 2. It will always equal 2. So when you don't have time, the formula doesn't change. So that's important for you to be thinking about. And I know everybody understands, I'm just too busy. I got too much stuff going on. Well, you need to be able to control time as a limited resource. And guess what? We help you do that because we have a podcast that is about time. And that time is Master Your Time, episode 7. Do that. Listen to that podcast. That will help you start to manage your time a little bit better and you have to do it. I mean, it's hard work. You can't just say, I'm going to control my time and magically snap your fingers and then all of a sudden you're in control. And it doesn't really happen that way. But if you want to control your time, if you want to get on this journey, that's where it's at. You've got to do that. So right now, so far, what we have is be curious, change the way you think. You have to be willing to control your time. Those are the first 3 things to becoming unstoppable on your IT journey. Now, there's these last 2 things. These are the home runs. This is where the meat really is. It's not that those other things are not important. They are definitely important. You have to be curious. You have to change the way you think. You have to control your time. Those are the ground rules. But these next 2 are the ones that are really going to skyrocket you and push you into the future on your IT career. And these with a combination of those previous 3 is what's going to make you unstoppable. So number 4, community. If you are around community, now you can make it with the first 3. You can get going. You can take your first step. You can move ahead. But if you have community, you're going to get a synergy around you that is going to continue to propel you forward on your IT journey. You need to identify, here's for community. Here are some tips. Identify those that share like passions and hang around them. You have to spend more time with people that want to move forward on their IT journey, and you have to be around them. Be around people that have curiosity. Be around people that work in tech. Be around people that have a positive attitude, that don't tear you down. That people that you don't want to be around people that tell you, oh, well, you can't do it, it's too hard. You want to be around positive people. You need to be around people in your life. It's like the coin flip here. On one side of the coin, you can have people that suck energy out of you. You know what I'm talking about? I am sure you know what I'm talking about. There's people in your life that when you see them come around, you're like, I wish they weren't here. I wish they didn't show up. When you're at a party and that person shows up that sucks life out of you, you're like, I'd rather just get out of here. Those kind of people. And then you've got people that put energy into you, that give you life rather than suck it out. And when you're around those people, like somebody shows up at a party and you're like, that's the person that you really like to be around. It's like you want to hang around the party longer because they're there and you get energy out of them and it's fun. When you think about people, that's what you're thinking about. Who gives energy to you? You've got to be in a community of people that give you energy. Now, here's an important note. Just because people go to college, university doesn't make them passionate. It doesn't make that a good community to be in. Just because they're paying money for an education does not mean that that's going to be a good community. I remember Chris Tucker, we did an interview a few episodes ago. Chris Tucker had told me about being in community college. Now, I can't remember if he shared this in the episode, but we and I definitely had this conversation. He was telling me that as he was in community college, he could look around the room and he could tell who was going to make it, who wasn't. He said you could tell it because there were certain people that continually kept engaged in the class. And then there were certain people that as you looked around the class, their eyes were glazed over and they didn't really seem to care. You're going to find that in your college and universities. You're going to find it wherever you go, community college, whatever. You're going to find it in the IT workplace. People that really do not care about their jobs. Those are not the kind of people you want to be around. You can't decide to pay for college and be thinking, well, I'll just get my community there. It's possible you can find a good community of people there, but it's also possible that you're going to find people that just end up taking energy out of you or that are there because they just want to party, that they don't really want to get into IT. I know two people that I've spoken with, and I hope that very soon we'll have a podcast with them. Chrissy and Rudy, who have had connections with the college scene and talk about just the whole, what's going on with colleges and how colleges are trying to make vain promises to get you to a certain place in so many weeks. And it just doesn't work because you can't make somebody an expert in 29 weeks, right? So, but they talk about this as well. Just because you're going to a college does not mean that that's going to be the community that is going to drive you forward. And these are people with tremendous amount of experience in cybersecurity. So this isn't just me saying this. If you talk to people out there, I get this very often. I was talking to a gentleman who helps people get their CISP, Certified Information Security Systems Practitioner. I think that's what it stands for. So he helps people get their CISP, and he was telling me the same thing. People are looking for community in these places. They're not getting it, and they think that they can fill it with a certification, and that doesn't end up providing what they need to really stay on their path and keep going. So if you're out there and connecting with people in the university scene, you're going to find that there's many people. You're going to hear the same thing. And you can go online, you can find videos from people as well, talk about all of this. And there's people seem to take one stand. It's like there's a dividing line. They're either so pro certifications that they're blinded by it, or they're so anti certifications that they're missing the value that a certification can provide, because there is a base level of knowledge provided by going through a certification program. But that's not going to give you community. That's not going to give you synergy. It's just going to give you some head knowledge without any experience. So that's why community is so important. Being part of a community should not be a struggle. Why? Because passions drive people. Passions push people forward. So if you feel like you need to be the one to push the community forward, and then if that's you, if you're like, I'm always the one that's trying to get my friends to, really your friendships are all just dependent on you. All your relationships are just dependent on you. If you're in the same thing is true in a community, if you're the one that's always trying to get people to connect and do things and have conversations, and you're always the instigator, you probably need to find yourself a new community, because that community of people is not going to provide what you need. So here's some 5 things that are attributes of a healthy community. A healthy community, and this is going to reinforce some of the things we've already talked about. A healthy community is going to have a natural curiosity. Remember, number one, you want to have a curiosity. You need to be curious. Yeah, you need to have your community is going to have a natural curiosity. Number 2, your community is going to have a natural desire to engage in conversation. It's not going to be you all the time trying to force things forward. A healthy community is going to be encouraging, desire for you to grow in your skills and knowledge, and that will be reinforced and reinforced and reinforced over time. But that should be natural in this healthy community that you're part of. A healthy community is going to be positive. They're going to make you feel good about your engagements with them, about your progress, and they're also, number 5, going to help you be consistent. What are the attributes of a healthy community? One more time. Curiosity is natural. There's going to be a natural desire to engage in conversation. There's going to be a natural encouragement, desire to grow in skills and knowledge. There's going to be a natural positivity in the community where people are not tearing people down, but they're helping people move forward. And there's going to be a natural desire to be consistent. Like, we're meeting every week, and it's not like we have to pull teeth to try and get people to show up. People want to be there. People want to be engaged and involved. So where do you even get started with a community? Because I'm laying out this lofty ideal, right? So, Dana, you got this crazy idea of this community. I mean, how does it even happen? Well, it can be like this. It can be lunchtime chit chat, just naturally being around certain people that want to learn more about tech, that want to have more conversations about tech. It can be, just the water cooler talk and banter, right? So there's people in your maybe your workplace or wherever you're at on your street. There's people that will naturally want to engage and chat about the things of tech. Take advantage of it. There could be a weekly meeting, like I said, like just kind of like the lunchtime thing, but maybe on a Saturday afternoon, you go out to lunch with some people and you just start throwing this out there. Now, how do you, and also it can be an online community, right? So you might find a place online that helps you get rolling with it. Here's the thing to get started, because like I've got this lofty thing here and I've kind of given you some lunchtime chit chat, other ideas that you can take, but to start, you need to start verbalize your desire to get into tech. You need to start maybe writing it out, expressing it. If you start verbalizing it, then there's probably going to be people around you that start resonating with that same message, that say, oh, you know what? I've kind of wanted to get into tech too. Oh, I never knew that. You never said anything about that. Well, neither did you. So get it out there, get it in front of people. Your desire about tech it can start that engagement and can start that to move forward. It will take time though. This is not like a magic switch that you can hit. It's going to take time to find the community that you want to be in. Now, we can help accelerate that. I'm going to put a plug in here because community is one thing that we're trying to get fired up. We can help accelerate this, but we need people who even want to get involved in the community that we're building. It's not like I built a community out there and all of a sudden everybody's flooding to it and wants to get into tech. That's not the case. Now, I'm willing to put time and energy and effort and engagement and helping people and getting on calls. That's part of what we do at IT Path. But you've got to have the desire to get into that and start moving forward. We're coming up to number 5. So I'm going to give you in just a moment the number 1 way to become unstoppable. But let's refresh. We talked about being curious. We talked about changing the way you think, controlling your time, being part of a community that is going to inspire you and keep you moving forward. And here's number 5. What I think is the number 1 unstoppable, the number 1 way to become unstoppable on your tech career is mentorship and coaching. When you have somebody that is pouring into you, that is just crazy good. This is like a home run in the making, because when you fall, when you make mistakes, you have somebody who can be there with you, who can encourage you and keep you moving forward, regardless of what you've just experienced. I wish so many times that I had a mentor or coach way earlier in my career. I wish that I had one on day one when I stepped into IT. When I went into that school and he asked me those questions about, do you know anything about this or that? And I was like, no, but I can learn. I wish I had a coach with me that was giving me some pointers, that was giving me some tips to help me get moving on my IT path. I didn't. I ended up having to learn that by myself. And for me, that process took 25 years to get over 25 years to get where I am now. Now, yes, I have picked up here and there people in my life that have helped me get through some pretty tough spots, but to have a consistent coach along my side in this process would have been an entire game changer. If you can have all of the best players on the bench. You can have all of the best players on the bench. And I like to think of myself as a pretty decent player. Um, not player in that sense of the word, but player of the game of getting it done in IT and doing well. I'm in that game. And I like to think I'm pretty good, but it takes a coach to look at the team and look at the skills of the team that draws things out of people. It takes a coach, takes a mentor to identify those things to get you to the next level. You can't just say, I'm going to be a good ball player, baseball, and I'm just going to go to the batting cage and I'm just going to work hard at the batting cage. And that's going to get me onto the field. Not necessarily. Maybe because you didn't have a coach and a mentor, maybe what you end up with is a really bad swing that you've been practicing for years and nobody wants you to swing the ball for them. That could be the case. And some swing that the pitcher can read right through and just knows exactly where to place that ball to just get strikes. That could be the case. You can develop develop bad habits in anything in life. You can definitely develop bad habits when it comes to IT. So here are some benefits from having a coach and a mentor in your life. None of these are actually I'm not even listing financial ones here. There's a financial impact from having a mentor or coach in your life because they're going to accelerate your career. They might even accelerate you up the chain and through promotion, helping you get promotions in your career. That could very well be the case, in which case that will be, and you getting started and getting moving as fast as possible on your journey. That could be worth an awful lot of money to you in the future. If you'd only had been like, oh, I wished I'd known that back then I would have a coach and I'd be so much further and I'd be a better ball player. But I'm not going to take that approach. I'm just going to take a different approach here. It's not going to be financial. One, you can glean wisdom from the years of experience. Like I said, I have 25 years experience and I want to share it. There are people like me out there that want to share their experience with people like you that are getting started. We want to help you shorten your path. We want to get you moving fast. Like I'm going to flip back my notebook here. I'm reading from a notebook. I'm old school. I like to take all my notes in the notebook, and then I start to refine some ideas and thoughts. And as I refine them, I kind of build an outline on the fly. It's just the way I roll. So I'm not in a computer screen right now, reading my notes. I'm actually in a little Walmart notebook. And let me flip back here. I was taking, back when I was starting IT Path, I started to brainstorm stories and different things. And I brainstormed like 60 stories right off the bat. But let me tell you, here's some things that a person like me with 25 years experience or somebody else can help you. Now, these are going to be different person to person. There's no question about it. But these are some tips and tricks that I know that I would love to share with people. How to identify problems, then build the solution. That's one of them. It's not what you know, it's what you need to know. There's a blind spot, and helping people understand that. That simple over complicated wins every time. People need to know that. That you need to be able to measure system reliability and be able to catch errors. That you can run serverless infrastructure and help your company be debt free. This is valuable to a company. And I know how to do this, and your CFO will love it. Your chief financial officer, how to downgrade your stack and upgrade your freedom. This is things that I can help people with. How can you scrum with a team to help your team move what seems like impossible projects forward? How do you identify the skills of your team? How do you just basically build flow diagrams that are meaningful to management? And this, I've got just a huge list of those things. So comes from those 25 years experience. And people out there like me want to share these things with people like you. And we want to help you get moving and keep moving on your IT journey. Okay, so you can glean wisdom. You can get your questions answered. How many times have I had a question about very, very specific things? Maybe it's a way of operating. It's not necessarily a technical question, but a way to operate to make my team better, and didn't have anybody to talk to. There's so many times that I had team problems that I just kind of had to figure it out, and from the ground up. And we're talking about people and their careers, and I want to do the best for them, and I want them to get their best out of them to give back to me. And it's when you talk to somebody who's been down that road before, you're not talking theory in a classroom. And guess what? You're not going to learn how to deal with personalities in your IT school. There's no certification program for this. This is the school of hard knocks. And if you're not talking to people who've been in the school of hard knocks, then it's all theory. People come out of college with a lot of theory, and many times not the best troubleshooting skills, because that's not what they're taught in college. They're taught theory in the classroom. And if you understand the theory, then you can get out there and do it. That's bogus. You have to be able to get experience. So talking to people with that experience is going to be just a game changer. You can have someone follow your progress. This is number 3. You have somebody, a coach or mentor, alongside you. And at times, it's going to be easy to get stuck, and a mentor can help you keep moving. At times, you're going to need a voice to listen to, and you're going to need somebody to listen to your voice, and that can happen in a mentorship. Number 4, a mentor will likely know exactly how to help you, because a mentor knows exactly what questions to be asking you, because they've seen your path before. They've been on it. They can tell you what's over the next ridge. Oh, you're going to get through this, but let me tell you what, this is probably what's going to happen on the other side of that. So you can take this longer path and do this, or you can take the shorter path and do this. A mentor is likely going to know that landscape really well because he's walked it. He or she's walked it. Let me tell you a story of a lady in town that my wife and I know and help. And we've been here in an area, like I said, my best buddy just passed away a week ago Saturday, which is pretty tough. But he had a huge impact in this lady's life, Mary Ellen. And we went into she's 90. We went into her house and a few days ago, and my wife and I are like, man, it's awful hot in here. Well, the heat was on, and she didn't know it was on in this one, and it was stuck on. And it was stuck on in these 2 rooms. And we're like, oh my goodness. So I went downstairs, and I'm not a plumbing heating guy. I'm like kind of guessing. I'm looking all around downstairs trying to figure out what I can turn off to stop this heat from flowing through these pipes. And I couldn't figure it out, but we called a heating guy, and he came in, and I kid you not, in less than 30 seconds, he had found a stuck valve open, and they fixed that. And then he found another stuck valve open. But in 30 seconds, he identified a major issue with the system. A mentor will be able to help you identify a major issue very quickly. Personality conflict, things that you're speaking that may be damaging to you, just the way that we speak about ourselves, like I can't do this and I can't do that. So the mentorship, number 4, mentor will know exactly how to help you. That just like that heating guy knew exactly how to find that problem. A mentor can assess your skills way better than, we've got our free skills assessment, like I talked about in number 1, about being curious. A mentor can help you identify your skills, assess your skills, and know much better how you fit in IT. And that comes from an outside look, not an inside look. You can't introspectively figure that out. You're not actually in IT, or maybe you're in IT and not in a role that you're designed to do, but you need somebody outside you to be able to see your qualities and to be able to help you go forward. An example of that is I didn't have a mentor when I went to an MSP, managed service provider, and started work as an auditor. I didn't have a mentor, and I got into that role, and I hated work every day. I had a lump in my chest. A mentor probably could have helped me identify that ahead of time, and then I wouldn't have had to go down that road. So a mentor can also help you with, being able to I had a couple other notes here. Plan a budget for planning projects. He knows what books you might, can encourage you to read, and all of that. And sometimes we need a voice just to encourage us, and a mentor can be that voice. So for those 5 tips, we're gleaning wisdom, or those 5 identifiers for a good mentor. You're going to be able to glean wisdom from them. You're going to be able to get your questions answered. You're going to have somebody that follows your progress. You're going to have somebody that knows exactly how to help you, and you're going to have somebody that can assess your skills and help you find your best fit in IT. So those are the 5 things. So the big 5 here, the big 5. Let's summarize all. Oh, well, let me one more thing. With mentoring and coaching, we offer a coaching program. We offer 2. One's a group coaching program. It's $140 right now. That's listed at $149 a month. But we get on calls twice a month, and we will track your progress. And that's one way that you can get involved in coaching program. And like I said before, and that coaching program also involves the community. So if you're paying for the coaching program, you're not paying for community. The community program is $49 a month. And so the coaching program includes that. But then also we have a one-to-one coaching program. I want to see people get successful. I want to get them unstuck and keep them moving. That's my desire. And it's my desire to offer those skills. But let me tell you what, my 25 years of experience, you pay attention to what you pay for. And if I just said, oh, I'm just going to be available to help anybody, then I'm not going to have any time to focus on those that really want to do this, or those that just think that there's some magic formula to get into tech. So that's why these pieces, the community and the coaching, that's why we ask payment for these things, because I'm going to focus on people that actually really want to do this, that are going to work hard, and they're going to raise their money to be able to get going. And then I'm going to walk beside them. I'm going to walk down the road with them. So we have a one-to-one coaching program, which you can also find more at itpath.net about that. So in summary, 1, be curious. There's a free assessment tool that helps you with that. Okay, go to itpath.net and find a free assessment tool on there. Click it, do it. It's going to help you get curious about yourself. Number 2, you have to change the way you think. That's episode 6 of the podcast. You can. I'm giving you a lot of these things are free. The first 3 are free. Change the way you think. Episode 6. All right, go to episode 6 and listen to that about lies. Number 3, mastering your time. That's episode 7. Go to episode 7, listen to about mastering your time, take some steps, control your time. Number 4, community. Start building relationships. Start talking about IT. Start talking about your passion, and let that lead conversation and find out who's interested. You can reinforce relationships. You can also join the IT Path community. We have live calls, 2 live calls just for the community. And then number 5 is mentorship and coaching. And with the coaching, all of that, you can find you need to keep your eyes open. Find somebody that has walked this path that can help you as well. And IT Path offers coaching, and the coaching program is $149 a month, which includes the community and those 2 live calls. So you actually end up with 4 live calls a month, 2 just for group coaching, and then 2 for the community calls. So 4 live calls, for that $149 a month. And if you're in just the community, that's 2 live calls for just $49 a month. And that's, $25 a call. I need to raise my prices. So this is what we're building. This is what we're working on. And lastly, there's a one-to-one coaching program available as well. And that's going to be more money, but you can find out more on the website about that. We want to help you. We really do. I want to see you move forward. I want to see you be successful in your IT career. I'm looking for people like you that are willing to work hard, move forward, keep moving. And I want to give you the tools and resources to do that. That's why those first 3 are free. And we want to help you. That's what I'm here for. Like, you think, well, I'm just out here to make money. No, that's not true. I actually have a full-time job. I got plenty to keep me busy. I have 2 kids, 23 and 16. I like to be able to spend time with them when I can. But I also see this tremendous need in tech. People need people that are going to pour into them, and I want to pour into you. This is Dana Morrison from IT Path. I'm so glad that you were here with us today. I look forward to a future interview. I think maybe even next week, we'll find out. I've got a couple people that I want to interview for you guys, and you're going to love it. These guys work in cybersecurity, and it's going to be a really fun call. So until next time, this is Dana Morrison signing off.
You have been listening to the IT Path podcast. Did you like this episode? Why not subscribe and share it with others? IT Path is dedicated to helping you claim your IT journey. You can find out more at itpath.net.